A very good evening to you and welcome to RTV News with me, Fiona Mbabazi. President Paul Kagame has chaired a cabinet meeting at Village Urugwiro that included examining COVID-19 preventive measures in place to fight the spread of the pandemic. Now, the meeting comes as COVID-19 infection rates in the country have once again begun to increase, with fatalities also on the rise. Now, officials from the Ministries of Local Government and Health recently warned that another COVID-19 total lockdown is not out of question if the general public continues to show complacency towards the threat. 95% of the 5,262 people who have been infected by the virus since it first detected within the country's borders in March have recovered, with 255 active cases as of Tuesday, the 10th of November. Now, this Tuesday, COVID-19 had killed 40 people in the country. The last cabinet meeting to sit before this one was 2 weeks ago on the 27th of October. And of course, we will be keeping you updated as soon as we have the news on this. Genocide suspect Felicien Kabuga has appeared in court at The Hague, where the defendant denied all 7 charges that were brought against him.
Felicien Kabuga appeared in court on Wednesday, flanked by his defense team that told the court that his client was not well and hard of hearing, a matter that was soon resolved using the audio equipment available. The charges against Kabuga stem from his actions here in Rwanda between April and July of 1994 as the genocide perpetrated against Tutsis raged on. He is accused of 7 crimes to be specific: 1 count of genocide, 1 count of complicity in genocide, 1 count of direct and public incitement to commit genocide, 1 count of attempt to commit genocide, 1 count of conspiracy to commit genocide, as well as 2 counts against humanity, these being persecution and extermination. It has also been noted that on the 10th of February 1994, before the genocide against Tutsis began, the defendant publicly called all Tutsis enemies. He also instructed journalists of the notorious RTLM radio to announce the whereabouts of Tutsis after the genocide began so that they would be killed, provided weapons and transportation for Interahamwe militia, and also organized and chaired meetings for death squads. Prosecutors told the court that Felicien Kabuga's dossier is being updated and will be ready by the 15th of January next year, but that the team needs another 6 months to properly prepare to present their case against the defendant. The defense team, on the other hand, asked for bail for their client on health grounds and was informed by the court that the decision on that will be made when the time comes. The court also asked all parties involved in the case to speed things up. 3 judges are presiding over the defendant's case.
Now, some residents of the city of Kigali have criticized people who pile up sand and gravel on public roads when carrying out construction activities on private property, saying that in addition to affecting the city's appearance, it also can cause flooding when the water drainage system is blocked.
Major roads where residential homes are being built, most of the inventors tend to drop sand and stones near the construction sites. Citizens say that this destroys the road and other infrastructure along the city.
They drop the sand and stones along the pathways, and sometimes you have no way to pass through. It was a 4-meter-long road through which the trucks were free to pass, and also the locals, but they closed it, and now we are passing through the mud.
We tried to ask some who are part of this, but they did not comment on the issue. In performance contract signing ceremony for the year 2020-2021, President Paul Kagame touched on this issue.
Abubaka baragiye bafashe batwaye amakamyo.
Constructors with a truck full of sand on the tarmac roads went and broke a road that is for public use. Others who were constructing left their leftover stones and sand and dropped them on the roadside and on the water drainage system about 100 meters because they did not want to carry it away. When someone destroys public property, they should be held accountable.
The city of Kigali says it has taken on the issue and is taking strong measures against those violating the regulations. Solange Muhigwa, Chief Urban Planner at the city of Kigali, says that anyone caught doing this will be held accountable. Those who do this are also inspected, and those found breaking these are fined and suspended. The law stipulates this to be between 50 and 100,000 Rwandan francs. If it's a road along the residential areas, then they pay 50,000. If it's a main road, then they pay 100,000 Rwandan francs. The use of public roads is not permitted, especially to drop construction materials.
Bigatuma abantu batabasha kuwukoresha nk'uko wari usanzwe ukoreshwa ndetse n'uko wagenwe uzajya ukoreshwa.
The dumping of stones, bricks and sand on the side of the road is damaging and at times block water pipes, which could be the source of flooding in their places.
Now, those who contracted COVID-19 and recovered are warning the general public not to undermine just how serious the pandemic is and instead adhere to the preventive measures that have put in place.
The local residents who tested positive for the COVID-19 and recovered live in different settlements that at one time or another were placed in a total lockdown due to the seriousness of the problem. They are now urging everyone to abide by the guidelines to fight the spread of COVID-19. We got tested and my 3 children were tested positive for coronavirus. They called me at 2 a.m. telling me that they are coming to pick the first child. At 3 a.m. they took the second one and the third one at 4 a.m. It was unbelievable, but later on I accepted the reality and told the children that they are going to get treated. What I urge people is to wear their masks properly, washing their hands and practice social distancing.
I tested positive for COVID-19. My wife got sick too. My 3 children and my cousin also tested positive. Now we protected ourselves by wearing our masks properly, washing hands by using clean water and soap, as well as practicing social distancing.
The general public agrees that everyone should learn how to abide by the guidelines to fight the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Gamishe, warns that the pandemic is still a threat and everyone should be careful.
The good thing about this illness is that it is not hard to protect yourself from it, so we all benefit from doing this. We went through the lockdown as the entire country, and then in some sectors and cells that had particular problems, and today, if it requires that we put some areas under total lockdown, then we will do it. It will depend on how we all protect ourselves while keeping in mind that this pandemic can be fought, because the lockdown negatively affects the country from many standpoints, economically, education-wise, and so on. So people should gauge the impact, and we should all protect ourselves.
As of Tuesday, the 30th of November 2020, RBC has indicated that 5,262 total cases of coronavirus had been recorded in the country since the first case was identified back in March. 4,967 recovered and 40 people had died.
As Angola celebrates 45 years of independence, Rwandans and Angolans that have noted on the benefits of the good cooperation that exists between the two nations are pointed out by Angola's ambassador to Rwanda.
Como sabe, as relações diplomáticas entre Angola e Rwanda começaram.
On the 26th October of this year, the Angolan government approved the first 3 agreements. The first one was an agreement on the establishment of the Joint Cooperation Committee between Angola and Rwanda. The second one, the framework agreement between the Republic of Angola and the government of the Republic of Rwanda. The third one, the Memorandum of Understanding between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Angola and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Rwanda. On the 23rd of October 2020, the first business forum between Angola and Rwanda was held by a video conference with the participation of 30 Angolan and Rwandan entrepreneurs, which was signed a Memorandum of Understanding between the CEOs of APX from Angola and the CEO of RDB from Rwanda, which will enable entrepreneurs in each country to export, start new business, and increase the levels of partnership between Angola and Rwanda.
Com maior evidência e com maior acuidade.
Both Angolans and Rwandans have agreed that good bilateral relations benefit them all.
So the only thing that I can basically assure you is that we are able to unite our people and we can find unity, stability and development in our country. So it's a feeling of happiness.
I remember when I went there for the first time, I had to use visa, but right now it doesn't require a visa, and that's what makes it special. The relationship Rwanda has with Angola is a great relationship.
Rwanda is a good country, it's clean, and as well I'm here to exchange experiences with other professionals. And of course, it's something that I'm interested about, and I want to also take those experiences back to my country.
Angola got independence in 1975 from Portugal, but suffered from the decades of civil war with interludes until 2002. To the matters now, UNICEF, Rwanda's Ministry of Health and Global Humanitarian and Development Foundation have launched a campaign to fight the spread of COVID-19 amongst taxi motorcyclists.
The campaign has seen the pasting of posters on buses and stickers on the helmets of taxi motorcyclists with COVID-19 preventive measures highlighted, and the initiative has been welcomed. The message they have given us is something I have been telling my passengers for a long time now, that we must respect the preventive guidelines in place because this pandemic concerns us all. Before a passenger sits on my motorbike, they must read this sticker and also use a hand sanitizer. We must spread the message among the local residents we carry. Organizers have stressed the need for such a campaign to be carried out. We had a meeting with all the taxi motorcyclists that came here to the stadium and told them that they should be part of the sensitization efforts and not just carry their passengers. They should remind them to read the stickers on the back of their helmets and urge them to properly wear their face masks. When you look at the transport sector, with all the people that use it, you realize that a campaign like this can have a good impact, urging people to protect themselves and others from COVID. The campaign that is taking place in Kigali will see the stickers placed on more than 26,000 taxi motorcycles, an initiative that has been endorsed by the Federation of Motorcycle Cooperatives of Rwanda. Authorities in Nyarugenge have observed that many taxi motorcycles operate in their district, which is why such a campaign should be supported. Though Rwanda's efforts to fight the spread of COVID-19 have been commended as a whole, cases have been observed of some local residents who drag their feet when it comes to implementing preventive measures.
On behalf of the entire news team that made this news possible, thank you very much for being part of us. My name is Fiona Mbabazi. Have yourselves a lovely evening and a good night. And do remember that you play a role in flattening the COVID-19 curve.